These Define Tomorrow events are all designed to be about technology, to be about business, and generally we ban the salespeople from the stage. We do have one section in the middle called the quick fire rounds, which most of you will have seen before. 4 or 5 of our vendors will get 5 minutes just to give you a pitch as to why they're different, and I will kick them off stage after 5 minutes if they haven't finished. I will actually push them off the stage. The world that we are living in at the moment is changing. And fundamentally, software is driving that change inside the industry at the moment. Now, most of you would probably have seen this slide on social media. I think it's gone over LinkedIn about 20 different times that I've seen it. But the face of the businesses that are revolutionizing the industry are generally there because of cloud scale and because they're differentiating with software. We all know about Uber. The slide apparently is incorrect now, but they're the world's largest taxi firm that actually own no vehicles, although someone did point out that they've now purchased 100,000 autonomous vehicles, apparently. I suppose it's the software driving the autonomous vehicles as well. We've then got people like Airbnb that actually own no property, but they're the biggest accommodation provider. All of these things are happening because of software and because the IT is able to now drive change inside of business. We're bridging two worlds, and I'm not sorry for pinching this from a VMware slide deck at a Microsoft conference, but we are going between the era of the client server and the mobile cloud. What does that mean? Well, we were in the position where we were looking at our data centers, where we were wondering or checking, are the disks still spinning? Have we got any red lights on the servers? When are we going to need to be replacing those servers? How are the users using the PC that we provide them on the network that we provide them with the applications that we're providing them? Into this kind of more, I don't want to say it, cloudy era, this kind of fuzzy era, where everything is becoming a little bit more less clear, where the users are picking up their mobile device first. When we're shopping, I mean, from my perspective, Amazon is my first point of call when I buy anything. Why? Because I've got Prime and it's easy, and I can get to it on my phone wherever, whenever, when I'm looking to buy something. The face of the way that we are interacting, the way that we're purchasing, the way that we're looking up information is changing. And the way that our businesses need to be moving towards is this mobile cloud era. We need to be thinking, when is our industry going to be revolutionized? So maybe you're not a taxi firm and you're not worried about Uber, or maybe you're not, I don't know, a hotel and worried about Airbnb. But when is your industry going to be revolutionized, and what do you need to do to make sure that your business is still relevant? Now, maybe I've got a lot of IT people here in the room. You think, well, that's not really my responsibility. The managing director runs the business, and he'll be doing that. But at the end of the day, us as IT, as technology professionals, need to be working with the business, delivering business cases to help the business move forward. And that is the new face for IT, is us becoming more aligned to the business and working with the businesses and the users' needs. Realistically, we're going between these two worlds for at least the next 5 to 10 years. It was predicted, I think it was by Pat Gelsinger at VMware, within 5 to 10 years, only 50% of the workloads are going to be in the cloud. So obviously, for two reasons, that is quite shocking. Only 50% of the workloads are going to be in the cloud by 5 to 10 years. And wait a minute, 50% of my workloads are going to be in the cloud in 5 to 10 years. So realistically, we need to be looking at our data centers. How can we simplify the data centers? How can we make sure that they provide the flexibility to the business, whilst also looking at our cloud strategy? And what you're going to learn over today is, by ignoring cloud, by not having a cloud strategy, you're probably putting yourself at more risk than adopting a cloud strategy itself. We need to move the focus from products and metrics onto business and users. So if you're doing an IT project, have a look at why you're doing that IT project. Are you simply refreshing it because it's out of date and it doesn't have support anymore? Or are you actually looking at the business case? How is it going to benefit your business, and how is it going to be benefiting your users? So a few of the questions that maybe I would ask myself when I'm doing IT projects. What is the business case? How are you improving the user experience? What innovation or flexibility are we delivering to the business? How are you delivering transformation to your business? And how are you educating your users? Now, the question you should be asking is, if it's none of the above, is it actually worth doing? Why am I doing it? And is this a good spot to stop and just consider what I'm doing? We're seeing transformation at most with the user's workspace, the user's desktop. If we look at how we were delivering the user's desktop 5 to 10 years ago, it was that PC that we provided on their desks with that wired network cable going back to your data center, with the applications running out of your data center. I was hated by my last company because I was the group policy guy. And that meant that I get to lock the desktop down as much as possible. I locked them down so much that they could only run the applications that we wanted them to run, until everyone realized that they could reword any application to word.exe and it would run anyway. But it was easy for IT to gain that control over the desktop. In the era we're moving to, that type of control can be very far away. So what does the modern desktop look like? Now, if we look at the example on the screen, I would hesitate to guess that is what the modern desktop looks like in most organizations today. It's exactly the same as it used to look, but you've put a TFT monitor on the computer. That isn't a modern desktop. A modern desktop is moving across multiple different devices. The desktop is no longer just that container for the applications that sat on somebody's desk. It needs to be transformed to a workspace. The users need to be able to access any application anywhere, anytime. And if you're not providing that, they're going to be looking to provide that themselves. If we don't do anything, if we don't adopt a transformation strategy, a cloud strategy, the risk we have is shadow IT will creep in. Shadow IT being the users going out and using Dropbox to store their files, maybe using Evernote to store their business notes, maybe signing up to an application in the App Store to keep their customer data. That is a real risk to the business and to the IT team to be able to control that data. How do you make sure it's protected? How do you make sure it doesn't get into the hands where it shouldn't be? These are all serious concerns. But if you don't do anything, that is more likely to cause you a problem than adopting a secure cloud strategy itself. So think to yourself, what does your modern desktop look like? Does it actually still look the same as it was 5 to 10 years ago and you're not concentrating on it? So the users are probably out there doing Dropbox themselves. The amount of IT managers that I ask that question to, and they go, no, it's fine, we've blocked Dropbox and we put it in the policy that they can't use it. They're going to be using something else. If you've blocked access to Dropbox, maybe it's something else. Maybe they're just using it on their iPhone and their home PC. Users are asking for that flexibility, and they're demanding that flexibility. So we need to make sure that we have a strategy to get you from A to B, to start getting you across that bridge that allows you to enable your users. So the questions for you: what is your cloud strategy for your business? How are you going to be stopping shadow IT? How are you providing workspace transformation to your users? And how are you protecting your data in a cloud-enabled world? Now, for me, the security aspect is one of the most challenging and one of the elements that's changing the most. We're all used to providing protection to our network at the edge, generally via a firewall, maybe AV on our PCs. But in this cloud world, that's generally not sufficient. Whether inside your network you need to be drilling down and providing protection at a per application level, looking at the technologies that are able to micro-segment your network. But for me, it's the challenge of providing security into the cloud. So maybe it's with Office 365, or maybe it's with another cloud-enabled application. How are you going to ensure that that data is backed up, that data has DR resiliency, that if that data is sent to your competitor, they can't open your next 5-year strategy document in Word and see what you're doing? Realistically, it's easier than ever for your data to get into the wrong hands, as we've seen by the thousands of hacking cases and elements that have happened over recent times. So we're going to start today by looking at your data center. As I've said, we've got 5 to 10 years where we're looking at your data center, where we are considering how do we increase flexibility, how do we understand that movement to the cloud before we're then going to be moving on to the cloud. So the first person I would like to welcome on stage is Ed Baker from Microsoft.
Thanks very much, Barry.